if you can move 1 millimeter a day every day for your entire life,
Mhm.
imagine where you are 20 years from now.
Welcome to Leadership Sovereignty, the podcast. I'm your host, Terry Baylor, along with Ralph Owens, and we continue the conversation with Larry Cheatham, where he explains the 8 F's that are associated with the excellence of life and the compound effect of getting 1% better each day.
In today's chaotic world, how would you define effective leadership?
You know what? At the end of the day, leadership is about results. You know,
Mhm.
I am one of these people today. I say we have to all be results driven. And so when you start talking about effective leadership, first thing is anyone following you?
Mm.
If no one's following you, then back to you're only taking a long walk.
Mhm.
You're not leading.
Mm.
So it's tough to be an effective leader if no one is following you.
Mhm.
Um, After you determine, okay, someone's following me, back to effective leadership.
Mhm.
Are you leading them, in a way that um, we lead them to desired results?
Mhm.
I mean, let's face it, Adolf Hitler, Adolf Hitler was a leader.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
think I would have wanted to follow
Mhm.
Adolf Hitler.
Mhm.
So back to effective leadership. In my mind, effective leadership suggests that we're leading people in such a way that we're effective in getting results.
Got it.
So no, I appreciate that too, right? So Ralph, one of the things that we talk, so I heard two things in here, right?
Mhm.
One is, first of all, and Ralph, you're going to love this because I think you coined this. What you don't measure, you can't track,
That's right. 100%.
right?
Yeah.
So that's going to lead to the results aspect of this.
Mhm.
And I had a few friends call me on a group call maybe about 6 months ago, and they were asking, what is leadership? Is leadership the ability to influence people, right? Or is it kind of more of a like a, I don't want to call it like command, right? And you just tell people what to do. And so
Mhm.
my answer to them is, look, leadership is about, you can be in charge, but unless you have the ability to influence
Mhm.
people, then you're really not leading. You may be pulling them, you may be kicking them. Listen, I was in a meeting this week. Man, and I heard something and I'm like, wow. And the statement was like, um, the beatings will continue until the morale increases. I thought to myself, yeah, there's definitely not a lot of leadership going on here.
No, no. It's funny you say that, Terry, because sometimes people think leadership is just because somebody's been put in a position of leadership and they have authority, that makes them a leader. And listen, that does not make you a leader because you have authority over someone. When someone does something because they're in fear of losing their job, because you can hold something over them, um, you're not inspiring people, in that respect. And in my mind, that's not effective leadership.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that for
That's,
sure. No, that's great.
that's good. That's good. That's good. So let's talk a little bit about personal growth through leadership. We're, very familiar with the 8 F's. And you kind of talked about this in the pre-show meeting. So,
I can't wait.
yeah,
I love this.
explain what the 8 F's are, to the listeners, and the role of self-development in becoming a strong leader.
So again, this is something I learned from Orrin Woodward and a gentleman named Chris Brady, and both of these guys being ranked by Inc. magazine as two of the top 50 leadership and management experts in the world. And they started talking about, what does a life of excellence really look like? And they broke it down to about 8 very specific categories, and ask yourself, as I mentioned, these 8 categories, ask yourself, which of these 8 areas would you be willing to compromise? Would you be willing to say, yep, you know what? That doesn't matter to me in my life, and in no particular order, but I'm going to begin with faith, my faith walk, one of the 8 F's that I want to consistently work on, being better in and improving, my faith walk, my family life. What does that look like? Your spouse, your children, if you're married, your parents. And so faith, family, your finances. Are you willing to have that out of order? Are you willing to struggle in the area of finances? Your health or fitness, the other F, so faith, family, finances, fitness, your following. Remember leadership, no one's following you. You're only taking a long walk, so following, friendships. What does it mean to actually have real friends? Be a real friend, in someone's life, and so faith, family, finances, fitness, following, freedom. Are you willing to sacrifice that one? And then fun. Are there ways of having fun that don't have to involve reckless behavior? It doesn't have to come out of a bottle or at the end of a needle. So to me, those areas are the areas that I look to consistently improve in my life. And, we had this talk once before that, you're either going forward or you're going backwards. There's no such thing as sitting in one space.
Right.
You're moving one direction or the other. So once I came to that understanding, then I thought, okay, let's consistently see what I can do to be just, even if it's just a millimeter better today than what I was yesterday. That means I didn't move backwards. I moved forward. If you can move 1 millimeter a day, every day for your entire life, imagine where you are 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens to so many of us. We overestimate what we can do in the short term. I'm going to be a multimillionaire, by the end of the year. But we dramatically underestimate what we can do over the long term.
Right. That's good. Man, that's good. That's good. So what I hear out of that is being intentional. Being intentional in personal growth is critical for success. Let's talk a little bit about, what are some of the ways that people can be intentional? I mean, I tell this story all the time. Larry is the one that got me into reading, personal development books and leadership books. But, talk about some of the ways we can be intentional about, increasing our personal growth.
Yeah, you just hit on it. When you talk about being intentional, if I know what you allow your eyes to see on a regular basis and your ears to listen to on a regular basis, if I know what you spend your time involved with and in, I'll have a pretty good idea where you'll be 5 years from now. In other words, how much time do you spend watching television? Not to say you should never watch television, but it for me, I took an approach. I'm a huge football fan, right? I'm a big baseball fan. But one thing about that, I would never stop to watch someone else live their dream and without me taking steps toward my own. I'm trying to think of how to best help you understand what I mean. But I guess before we get to that, though,
that's great.
First,
Look, everybody on that baseball field, and I can relate to that because in my journey, I was supposed to be the next Ozzie Smith. Right, that was my ultimate dream and goal. And so whenever I watched that game, right, I would go to the games. I would stand out after the game's over. I spoke with Jose Akendo. I would ask those guys, man, so what does it take? What did you do? And everything, it came back with the same answer every time. It was hard work. But at the end of the day, those folks, Larry, were living their dream. And to your point, right, I'm there watching them live their dream, right? But what am I doing to pursue my own?
Right. So I want you to think about something for a moment, Terry. Imagine walking up to during his prime, or even in pursuit of becoming the best, what I believe is the best shortstop in history, Ozzie Smith. Imagine walking up to him while he's pursuing that dream and saying, "Hey, Ozzie, I want you to take off for the next week of practice, and I want you to come watch me, bowl.
Mm,
I want you to come watch me, you know, you pick the activity
mm.
and watch him look at you as if you had two heads." Because Ozzy was in the pursuit of excellence. He was in the pursuit of his dream, and he was willing. Here's what I would bet, and I've never met Ozzy, but I would be willing to bet that Ozzy was willing to invest time,
Mm-hmm.
money
Mm-hmm.
in learning from those people who had gone before him, who had demonstrated excellence.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet you he invests his time, his money, his energy, his thought process to becoming the best that he could be.
Thanks for tuning into Leadership Sovereignty. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to follow, like, and share. Your support helps us keep the conversation going. Until next time, lead with purpose and God bless.